our lineage come from. Our guru, Swami Vishnu Devananda, he was an expert or a master in this lineage. Even when Swami Vishnu Devananda was very young and went to meet Swami Sivananda, he remembers that Swami Sivananda initiated him. And at the moment he got the initiation, he remembered all the knowledge of Hatha Yoga from a past life, like it just came to him. So he was already practicing, and Swami Sivananda noticed that he was already an accomplished Hatha Yoga, and he named him as the professor of Hatha Yoga of the what Swami Sivananda founded, the Yoga Vedanta Forest Academy. That was his teaching in Rishikesh in the Himalayas. So we are actually very, very lucky that we have this lineage of Hatha Yoga, which is very traditional, very pure, and Swami Vishnu was always insisting to us that we keep it very pure, very straightforward, not mixing with modern things or other things. And the main teachings are in this text, the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Now when we talk about Hatha Yoga, most people think nowadays that Hatha Yoga is just a physical exercise. Many, many people will have just that idea. And sometimes, it's associated that to do Hatha Yoga, to be an advanced Hatha Yogi, means that you are just very flexible and you can put your foot here and knee there and all that, then you are an advanced Hatha Yogi. But that's not really what Hatha Yoga is about at all. Hatha Yoga is actually a spiritual practice. It's a practice to help us to attain the realization of the self or the Atman, and it is considered to be just an aid or a preparation for Raja Yoga. Actually, like Swami Sivananda and Swami Vishnu explain, Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga are actually one, and this we will explain why. So the text will begin by explaining that. So I will read the first verses and then we will make some comments. Chapter 1, verse 1. I salute the first Lord, Shiva, who taught to Parvati the Hatha Vidya, that is, a step to the attainment of the most excellent Raja Yoga. So Shiva taught to Parvati the Hatha Vidya. Vidya means knowledge or science. That is a step to the attainment of most excellent Raja Yoga. So first of all, who is Shiva, who taught to Parvati? Who is Shiva? Who is Parvati? Shiva is Ishvara. Shiva is the Lord. Shiva is God. He's considered the Adi Guru, the first Guru. Where did all this knowledge of how to realize the self came? How to realize God? From God Himself. You see, it's like God creates this world and then put the people into the spell of Maya for the evolution, but then also He gives the means how to evolve, how to get out of it. So the instructions are there. It's like, when you buy, suppose you buy a machine. Suppose you buy a dishwashing machine. Then you buy it, you don't know what to do with it. Maybe you give it to somebody who has no idea what to do with it. Maybe we'll use it just to store something, food inside. But then what happens is it comes with a user's manual. Then you read the manual, it tells you, okay, you put this here, you do that, plug it in, put this, water, and so. And then you follow the instructions, and then you get the result. So like that, these kind of texts are like the user's manual in our life. We came with this body, this body and this mind, we don't know what to do with it. We are completely lost. So this teachings is like explanation, reminding us, okay, what is this body for? How to control it? What is the goal? What is the purpose? What do we want to achieve? And it can be traced back to God Himself. It's a divine knowledge. It's called divine revelation. And then Shiva taught to Parvati. Who's Parvati? So Parvati is a divine mother, which is nothing but the whole universe. The whole manifested universe is Parvati. So it means Shiva taught it to the universe. God taught it to the universe, revealed this knowledge to the living beings. But actually it is said, is a mythological story, very interesting. It says that actually when Shiva was telling to Parvati the whole knowledge, Parvati fell asleep and didn't retain it. So she was a bit disappointed, but he saw that the fish, they were in the shore. They were in the shore of the sea when Shiva was teaching to Parvati. And Parvati fell asleep, but there was a fish there. And actually, he stood very awake and he heard the whole teaching. And the problem was that his body was not fit to practice yoga. So, so what did Shiva? With his power, with his blessing, he put some water, he sprinkled water on him, and suddenly the body of that fish was transformed into a human body. And that was actually the first disciple. It was called Matsyendra. So from Matsyendra it is said that the lineage comes from, and then it was, Goraksha, and then many others, and I will read later, it's explained a whole lineage there. And then this lineage is being kept alive until this day. That's the beauty of it. It's amazing. But very few lineages have survived the pass of time. And this lineage is still alive. Still, yogis have been there for thousands and thousands of years doing these practices and teaching it, transmitting it from teacher to student, and so on. So, Hatha Vidya is a step to the attainment of the most excellent Raja Yoga. So what's the purpose of Hatha Yoga? To attain Raja Yoga. Okay, now what is Raja Yoga? What is Raja Yoga? Anybody knows? The highest yoga? Why? See, Raja Yoga, we can look at the definition of yoga in the Raja Yoga Sutras, Patanjali Yoga Sutras. The explanation of yoga is like this. Yoga is the suspension of all the agitations, all the waves in the mind. This in Sanskrit, very famous verse, yogas chitta vritti nirodha. So means that yoga, specifically Raja Yoga, means to bring the mind into a state where there are no waves, there are no vrittis. So to understand that, we can look at the mind like if it is a lake. Imagine the mind as a lake, the mind substance, the chitta. And then suppose you throw a stone in the lake, a wave is made. If you throw many stones, many waves are made. Now when the lake is completely calm and clean, you can see through the water, you can see the bottom. But the moment there start to be waves there, then the waves prevent you from seeing through it, and you only see the waves. So that's the situation of the mind, and the Raja Yoga explained the mind can be in 5 different modes or 5 different states. One mode is called Kshipta, which means the mind is very scattered. The mind is full of waves. It's like a stormy day, you go to the ocean, you see wave and wave and wave and wave. So this is a state of the mind where there's complete restlessness. The mind is always engaged and always moving from one thing to another. There is no concentration, there is no peace, there is no quietness. Have you ever experienced that? Anybody? Okay, most of you, you experienced that. Is that a painful state of mind or a pleasant state of mind? Painful state of mind. Okay. Then there is another state, it's called Muda. Muda is a state where the mind is completely dull. You feel like sleepy, tired, negative, depressed. You have no stimulation or desire to do anything. And the mind is not so agitated, but it's in a complete dull state. And all kind of negative feelings come from that state. Have you ever experienced that state? Yeah, it's quite known. state, mudha. And it's also a painful state of the mind. Then there is a third state, it's called vikshipta. In vikshipta, the rays of the mind are started to become more gathered. They're starting to be more focused. There start to be some concentration. But there is a concentration on a topic. There are many thoughts that come in the mind, but those thoughts are somehow related to one particular topic. So suppose I'm giving this talk, and suppose you're paying attention, then many thoughts are coming into your mind, but those thoughts are always related to this topic that we are studying. Or suppose you're reading a book, and you're reading there, then you're thinking, there are many thoughts, but all kind of focus on one thing. This state of the mind is more pleasant. You like it when it is like that. For example, when somebody gives a nice lecture, or if you go to see a nice movie, or if you listen to music that you like, your mind goes more into that state because you forget a lot of other things. You forget a lot of your problems and pains and things, and you are starting to focus your mind, and then it becomes a more pleasant state, more comfortable state. Still, it's not the happiness, but it's a more comfortable state. That's why people like to go to activities or to do things or to read a good book and so, because it focuses the mind. And if it focuses the mind, you experience some calmness and some peace. Have you ever experienced that state, vikshipta? So these three states, most people know. Mudha, like shipta, mudha, and vikshipta are quite known states. Now, there is another state which is very rare. Only very, very trained mind can attain. This is called ekagrata. Eka means one. Grata means to grab or to hold. So when there is only one thought in the mind alone, and only that thought continues in the mind without any other thought coming to distract, this is like a state of perfect concentration of the mind. This state, most people don't experience. You have to train your mind a lot to be able to be on that state even for, a minute. Because the mind is always going back into all kind of distractions. The mind has a tendency to go always to the senses, and and any impression that comes from the senses creates a vritti, creates a thought, creates a wave in that lake of the mind. So you want to concentrate on one thing, and then another thing comes. You go back to one thing, another thing comes. But with training, the mind can be brought to that state of focus. And when the mind is in that state of focus, it becomes actually very, very powerful. The mind is actually Shakti. The mind is a divine power. And then the problem is that our mind is usually scattered in so many directions that our energy is scattered and is very weak. But when you're able to concentrate on one thing, then whatever you concentrate on, you can reach easily. And the yogis know that and train the mind to be in that state. And then there is another state, a fifth state, which is called Nirodha. This is what the Yoga Sutra talk about when it explains what is yoga, is to bring the mind into the state of Nirodha or Niruddha. And Nirodha is a state where there is completely no waves. See, it's not even that one concentration on one thought. Even that thought subsides and the lake remains like a calm, completely calm. And this morning when I was walking here, I saw the bay. It was like a mirror. I don't know if you noticed, some of you. It was like a mirror. Exactly, you could see the lights of Nassau, everything was just like a mirror. So sometimes, it happens, there is no wind and no boats moving there, and then the water goes like that. So if you can bring the mind into that state, then this is what is called yoga. This is called Raja Yoga. Raja means kingly, the kingly yoga. The king is the boss, is the one who has mastery or control over everything. So if you have control over your mind, you are your own king. You are the boss. Normally you are not. the mind, is the boss, you follow. The mind has a lot of habits and tendencies, and the mind just tells you and you do. The mind tells you, I want to smoke a cigarette, you go and buy and smoke. The mind tells you, I don't want to go to meditate today, I want to stay asleep. And then you go stay asleep. So then the mind is the boss in that state. But Raja Yoga means, the king, the one who controls the mind, has it under completely perfect control. This is Raja Yoga. Now, why we want to keep the mind into that state? What happens when the mind is in that Nirodha state? Then there is also the explanation in the Yoga Sutras. The next sutra explained that says, when the mind is in that state, the subject, the person who is meditating, dwells in its own self, experiences its true nature, its true self. So, when the mind is not in that self, when the mind is not calm, you experience all the content of your mind and you identify with it. So the mind is creating like a movie for you. The mind is projecting a whole idea of a reality, and you believe it to be so, and you identify with it, and you create a whole idea, oh, I am Mr. So-and-so, I am this body, I am male, I am female, I'm from here, I'm from there, I'm that and that, I'm black, I'm white, I'm this and that, I'm healthy, I'm sick, I'm intelligent, not intelligent. All these ideas that you have about yourself actually is not what you are. It's just what is called avidya or asmita, which is an illusion created by your mind. It's not your true self. And in that wrong identification, you experience suffering, you experience pain. Because the self is the happiness. We are all looking for happiness in life, right? We are looking for happiness. But where is that happiness? We think that happiness is to be found through some object. We think if I do this, if I go there, if I get that, if I'm with this person, or if I buy this object, or if I move to that place, I will be more happy. I will be happy. But then no matter what you do, you try to fulfill those desires, and then if you fulfill one desire, 10 more desires come. Then you try to fulfill all these 10 desires, and then 100 desires come. And then you are all the time just chasing to fulfill your desires. And does the happiness come this way? No way. It doesn't come. So the yogis explain why. Why is that? Because the happiness is not something that you ever going to get, because it's something that you already are. The happiness is your true natural state, is the state of the self. The self is made of that happiness. We are the happiness itself. But the problem is that through that illusory process, because of the state of ignorance in the mind, we are like sleeping, we are like dreaming. We are not awake, even though you might be in the waking state. The waking state is very much like a dream. You are not experiencing your true nature, and you're having all kind of fantasies in your mind about who you are and where the happiness is going to be found. And then that fantasy idea makes you to do all kind of activities in your life, and you get engaged in all kind of ventures, and this is how you create karma. You do actions with the motivation to fulfill a particular desire. This is create karma. Karma brings reaction, brings more experiences. And then these experiences, you might like them or you might not like them. Sometimes they are pleasant, sometimes they are painful. Then you react to it. You try to hold to the pleasant, you try to avoid the unpleasant. Now you hold to the pleasant, but what's the problem? Anything that is pleasant is not lasting. It goes away. So let's say you really want to enjoy your ice cream. So you go to the boutique, you buy this little paper, you go there, get your ice cream, eat it, enjoy it. How long can you retain that pleasure? Then the ice cream is finished, then you go buy a second one. You eat it. Then what happened? You keep eating 3, 4, 5. Are you capable to retain that pleasant experience of the ice cream? No. Actually, if you continue eating, it's going to become very painful. Your stomach really is going to tell you that it's a painful experience. So that pleasure becomes pain. You try to hold to it. So like that, we think, oh, there is happiness by going after this thing. And then even if you get it, you cannot hold it. You do all kind of efforts to hold it, and you cannot hold it. Ends up going away. Then pleasure becomes pain. Then when pain comes, you want to avoid it at all cost. You don't want any pain. So you protect yourself. You do things to avoid pain. So we have air conditionings not to experience heat. And we have a comfortable bed, so we don't experience any, pain in our muscle, in our bones and so on. But can you make it? Does it work? Really? No, pain keeps coming. Body's aging. No matter what you do, body's aging, pain is coming, and you cannot avoid it. So this idea of just trying to chase the pleasant experience and avoiding the painful experience is not the solution to find the happiness. And that's what the yogis explain. Then what's the solution? Chitta vritti nirodha. Just bring the mind into that calm state and experience your true self. Experience who you really are, what you really are, which is that happiness. And at that time, it's like all your desires are naturally fulfilled. There is no more desire, because it's like, you are hungry and you ate, there is no more hunger. So that desire that we have, that make us go after different kind of things in life, is just the lack of self-realization. Because of that lack of self-realization, lack of experience of our true nature, then we are always chasing after something, that believing that it's going to bring us that happiness. But it doesn't come. But if we really meditate, there is an experience of a peace and a joy that cannot be compared with any other thing in the world. Even if you experience that for 1 minute, you will find that it's an experience that cannot be compared even with any kind of pleasant thing or power that you can get in the world, or material thing, or anything else. So that's what is called Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga means to control the mind, to really restrain this tendency of the mind to just going and chasing after desires born of our ignorance, and getting caught into the wheel of karma and samsara. And then restrain that, bring the mind to that nirodha state, experience your true self, and then you are self-realized, you are in peace. So that's Raja Yoga. Now we go again to the text. So we say Hatha Yoga is a step for the attainment of the most excellent Raja Yoga. So the purpose of Hatha Yoga is to bring you to that experience. The purpose of Hatha Yoga is not anything else. It's really to bring your mind into that state where you can experience the complete peace and quietness of your mind and dwell in your own self. And we know that in the process of doing that, Hatha Yoga gives you so many other benefits. Hatha Yoga, of course, helps you so much with your health. And we know, we've been studying that, how wonderful it is, and helps us in so many ways. And makes your body stronger, more flexible, and even more beautiful. So many things. But those are not really the goals of Hatha Yoga. Those are not really, this is not what you want to achieve to Hatha Yoga. This is more like a side effects. There are good side effects, desirable side effects, wonderful side effects. But when we study really the classical Hatha Yoga, we see that the purpose is really to attain that deeper meditative experience and inner realization. That's the result of Hatha Yoga if it's practiced correctly. I'm going to the verse number 2. Swatmarama Yogi, that's the name of the author of this text, Swatmarama. The name is very nice. Swatmarama means one who dwells or is satisfied in its own self. Swa-atma, its own Atman. Rama, he is satisfied, he is dwelling, satisfying its own self. So that was the name of the yogi. Swatmarama yogi, having saluted his own guru, gives out the Hatha Vidya solely for the attainment of Raja Yoga. So solely, you see, and again he repeats that. He said it in the first verse, now he repeats it again in the next verse. This Hatha Yoga is given solely for the purpose of Raja Yoga. It's not for anything else. It's not even to attain siddhis, for example, like many people think, you do yoga, then you master your mind and then you attain powers and you can fly in the air and you can know everything, and even those powers are not the end or goal of yoga, or neither Hatha Yoga. The goal is to attain that perfect meditation state. To those who wander in the darkness of the conflicting sects, unable to obtain Raja Yoga, the merciful Swatmarama Yogi offers the light of Hatha Vidya. So to those who wander in the darkness of the conflicting sects, so there are many sects of thoughts, the different philosophical schools, right? And then many different kind of teachings. Then you go to one teacher and tells you, God is Krishna. And then you go to another that tells you, no, God is Allah. Then you go to another that tells you, you have to repeat this mantra. You go to another that tells you, no, mantra is not good, you have to practice devotion. And then like that, then one said God has a name and form. Another says, no, God has no name and no form. One says the creation is a real thing. The other says the creation is unreal. So like that, there's all kind of conflicting schools of thoughts. Now, if you have in this conflict in your mind, then you do Hatha Yoga. What happened? Hatha Yoga is not about just you have to accept a philosophy or belief. It's about doing a practice. And if you discipline your mind, if you control your mind and your prana, you will get that experience. And then you will know. Then all this mystery of the universe and God will be just revealed to you, because that knowledge is already within. And then the duty of Hatha Yoga is that you practice that. You have to. It's a discipline. It's a part of discipline, and that's why it's most difficult also, because it's easy to say, okay, I believe in God, and just having some philosophical belief. But then getting up from bed, doing the practice regularly, observing the discipline, controlling the mind, controlling the prana, and doing it constantly for a long period of time without interruption. This is very difficult. But this is, Hatha Yoga is a discipline. So it's a scientific thing. If you practice, you get the result. And I think all of you who are here, you have practiced some level of yoga, and you experience some result from it. Even sometimes you just take one asana class and you feel the change. You know it works. Nobody has to convince you, or doesn't matter if there's a scripture that says it or not. You experience it by your own practice. So like that, the more you go into deeper levels of Hatha Yoga, you get deeper levels of experience. It becomes a direct experience. Then there is no conflict. Eventually, you get to Nirodha, you know everything. There will be no more doubt about anything. So for those who are unable to obtain Raja Yoga, the Swatmarama Yogi offers the Hatha Yoga. So unable to obtain Raja Yoga means, if you cannot just sit there and tell your mind to shut down and be quiet, then you need to do Hatha Yoga. See, can you meditate like that? Can you just sit? How many people can do that? So anybody here, can you just sit there and then bring your mind into a state of complete quietness without distraction, just dwelling in your own self? Anybody can do it? is extremely difficult. The mind is very, very difficult to control just like that, by the mind alone. Some people can do. There are huge, giants, yogis who did it in many, many lifetimes before. They've been practicing, and maybe in this life they don't need Hatha Yoga. They just sit and meditate. But they have already practiced so much in past life. But for most people, that will be very, very difficult just to meditate and do only that practice of meditation without any support, without any preparation for it. Therefore, Hatha Yoga is so useful, so necessary to prepare you, to take you to the meditative state. It will take you step by step into the state of meditation. So you're going to start from something more easy. You're going to start by controlling the most grossest manifestation of the thought, which is the physical body. Our physical body is nothing but a manifestation of our thought. We get this body because of past thoughts, and this, whatever we think, reflects on this body. Now, in the Hatha Yoga process, you start from the grosser to the subtler. So you start by controlling the body, the movements, the agitations, the tensions. But actually the most important thing in Hatha Yoga is the control of the prana. The Hatha Yoga is not really a physical yoga, like some people call it. Physical yoga is Hatha Yoga. This is wrong idea. Don't answer in your TTC exam when they ask you the question, what is Hatha Yoga? By the way, this is a question in your exam. You know, I'm already telling you some. Don't answer that's a physical yoga. No, Hatha Yoga is that yoga to control the Ha and Ta, to unite Ha and Ta. Ha and Ta are the two poles of the energy. Ha and Ta represent sun and moon. Sun and moon are the two poles of the energy. The energy or prana has two poles. In the whole universe we see it manifest in these two poles of the energy. We have the sun and the moon. We have the male and the female. We have the hot and the cold. But then, if you look into the atom, you have also these forces. There's a centrifuge force, centripete force. Even in the galaxies, there's two forces are acting there. One is pulling one way, one is pulling the other way, right? And everything goes in cycles, and these two forces are interacting with each other all the time. And from the interaction of these two forces, everything is created, and the whole creation is based on these two energies, the interaction of these two energies. And the Chinese philosophy call it yin and yang. Yin yang is the same concept of Ha and Ta. But Hatha Yoga, yoga means union, means to unite the sun and the moon energy. So the process, and we're going to be explaining in these next few days how this union is practiced in Hatha Yoga. But the idea of Hatha Yoga is to unite the sun and the moon until they unite and become one. When they become one, at that moment there will be no more vrittis in the mind. Because it is the swing of the mind, it is the swing of the energy that you see these two forces, sun and moon, are pulling your mind from one side and from the other, your psychic body, constantly. For example, this sun and moon energy, they are the forces of the prana and the apana, and the inhalation and the exhalation. So constantly you are breathing, and then your mind is like pulling to one side and to another and to another and to another, like that. And then you will see the nostrils are changing, part of your, for an hour or two, the right nostril is open, then the left nostril is open, then the right again, then the left again. And this is going to be making your sun and moon predominate. Now sun predominates, now the moon predominates. Now the sun predominates, now the moon. Even in our life, we have the day and the night. The day and the night. You see, during the daytime, sun energy predominates. In the sun, nighttime, moon energy predominates. So we're always caught in these two forces pulling us. And this is like, it's like you're paddling your bicycle, right, left, right, left. And then what happened? The bicycle keeps moving. So like that, all these vrittis in our mind, all these agitations, all these waves, keep going on or keep being fed by the pull of these two forces. You see, so you keep your breath is agitated, your mind keeps going, this movement of your energy swings like a pendulum one side to the other, and your mind keeps going and going and going. If you can stop that, if you can unite the sun and moon, then it's like you bring the pendulum into the center, and it doesn't move there, it stays there. Then the mind cannot swing anymore. The mind doesn't create any more vrittis. So, what is Hatha Yoga? Is to control the mind through controlling your prana. Through controlling the sun and moon energy, you get to control your mind. You get to reduce the vrittis and suspend the vrittis by neutralizing the force of the sun and the moon energy. So how you neutralize? First you need to find a perfect balance between them. Once they are in perfect balance, then only they can be connected and united through the techniques of Hatha Yoga. There are specific techniques to unite this prana and apana, sun and moon energy. For this union to happen, there has to be a long time of preparation, of purification of the nadis. All this we're going to discuss in the following days a little bit more in detail. And of course, this is what you're learning and practicing in the ashram and in the TTC. You're going to be studying also more in detail. But Hatha Yoga means to be able to suspend this swing of the sun and moon energy, connecting this sun and moon energy, and then when these two energies are connected, the mind naturally goes into a state of quietness. And then you are experiencing Raja Yoga. So the scriptures say there is no Raja Yoga without Hatha Yoga, and there is no Hatha Yoga without Raja Yoga. They are one. So Sivananda explains this again and again. You see, also to control your energies, you have to control your mind. If you don't discipline your mind, how can you control your energy? So you work with both things at the same time, actually. You're going to be working with the mental discipline and then the discipline of your prana at the same time. And the more you progress in the discipline of your prana, the more you will be able to focus your mind. And the more you focus your mind, the deeper you will go into the control of the prana. And then like that, you're going to go into deeper levels until you experience a perfect meditation. When you experience perfect meditation, then you realize your true self. Then you experience who you are. Nobody has to tell you who you are. You know. You experience it. You're already that. You see, you're already that, but you don't know you're that. Actually, it's not that you don't know. You know, but you are like sleeping. You are like forgetting that you know. That's another way to put it. So only in that state of meditation you wake up, you realize something that you already are and you already have. So any questions? No questions? So the sun and moon energy, we connect to the cosmic prana or life force through our nose. Not really to the physical nose, but there are two nadis. The nadis are the channels of prana, that we also going to explain more, that all are connected to the two nostrils. And when we breathe, we take in the prana from the universe, and then this prana is distributed and does different kind of functions in our body. But this prana has two poles, like you say, the positive and the negative, or the prana and the apana, the sun and the moon. And then you're going to be absorbing those to the nose. Now if you notice, if you observe yourself, one nostril is always more open than the other. Have you noticed that? You can check. You can look, block one and breathe, and then block the other and breathe, and see one usually is easier than the other. And if you observe during the day, this will change. The cycle takes between 1 and 2 hours. The average is 1 hour and a half. one nostril is open, then the other is open, and like this. So when the right nostril is open, the sun energy is increased. You are awakening your sun energy. So the sun is energy of heat, is the energy of action. It is outgoing. It will make your mind be more focused on concrete things. It will stimulate the opposite brain because there is a crossing of the nerves by the area of here of the back of your head. The nerves cross so that the right side of your body actually connects to your left brain and vice versa. So when you breathe into your right nostril, actually you're stimulated your left brain. Then the body will heat up. Your metabolism will increase. Your sympathetic nervous system will be stimulated. Then your blood pressure will increase, your heart rate will increase. You will be more doing actions, muscular, physical actions. But then what happens is, if this keeps going up and up and up, you're going to become overheated. You're going to become, in an excess. You're going to have a lot of stress. So then the prana changes, and then the left nostril opens. When the left nostril opens, then the moon energy starts to become active, and then your metabolism slows down. You cool down, your heartbeat slows down, your blood pressure slows down, your mind goes more inwards. Instead of concrete thoughts, you get more abstract thoughts, artistic thoughts, like this. So then you cool down. But then what happens if you remain for too long on that state, then you're going to feel that you have no energy. You're going to feel that you cannot get out of bed, that you are just sleeping, daydreaming all day. Some people have this problem. They are too much moon energy, that they cannot focus on anything. They have no capacity to do any concrete thing. They are completely spaced out. So you need the right, sun energy again. So like that, there's an alternation between the nostrils, and that keeps this like a thermostat of a water heater. If you have a water heater, so you have an electric water heater in your house, then there's a thermostat, then you want to have nice hot water, then there's electricity, activates a resistance. The resistance starts to heat the water. Now when the water reaches a certain level, you don't want this water to boil, otherwise it will explode. The water heater will explode. So before it reaches a certain temperature, the thermostat cuts the electricity. And then there is a cooling process. Then the water becomes cooler and cooler and cooler. Now, when it gets too cold, you don't want to get too cold. So then again the thermostat turns on. And then it starts to heating again. So like that, there is like an inner thermostat which keeps, turning on and off the sun and moon energy. And that's how we balance all our metabolism, physically, psychologically, and in all the areas of our life. So it's healthy to have a right balance, a right change of these two nostrils. So between 1 and 2 hours is a very healthy thing if your nostrils are changing. Now if you notice that one nostril is open for a very long time, then that means there is some imbalance there. And then something is going to happen. You can predict that something is going to happen either in your body, in your health, or mentally you're going to be imbalanced. Because, first your energy goes imbalanced, then it manifests on your physical level. So these kind of things happen. The imbalances happen because our nadis, the channels of energy, get polluted, get obstructed by different things. Some of them is the toxins that we ingest through wrong food and things like alcohol and tobacco and all kind of stuff like that. And then there is a lot of emotional traumas. Every time you get angry, every time you feel sad, or every time you feel like envy or any kind of intense emotion, will create blockages in your nadis. And then these blockages in your nadis distort the whole process of the balance of the sun and moon energy. Then what do you need to do? Anuloma viloma. Inhale left, retain, exhale right, inhale right, exhale left. So like that, you do anuloma viloma, you bring these two energies back to balance, you clean your nadis, you purify the nadis. By purifying the nadis, then again the sun and moon energy go back into balance, the cycle goes on, and then you feel balance. But that's only the beginning. The Hatha Yoga goes much further, because then, after you find a perfect balance, you want to unite this sun and moon energy. And that's the advanced level of Hatha Yoga, which needs preparation, needs we don't teach this in regular classes, we teach more in advanced levels. There are many techniques that you cannot practice if you don't go to the purification of the nadis first. And that process takes some time, takes a few years and a discipline. But we're going to be studying this in the next few days. Okay, so I'm going to conclude now. Just any question?